Hi there, welcome to my channel or welcome back. It's Nicole. Today I'm creating another layout using the Turtley Sweet workshop kit. This time though, I'm drawing inspiration from layout 1. Now since I've already worked with layouts 2 and 3, I couldn't resist trying this design too. The guide shows like an outdoorsy inspired design, which worked perfectly because I am documenting a visit to Hopewell Cape. This stop was really special and I'm so excited to highlight these photos, especially this one. I had no idea my husband even took it. Sorry about that little bit of glare there. There we go. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about getting these documented today. So right away, I knew that I wanted to adjust some of the details within this design to obviously suit my pictures because I have 6 photos and this is only 3 and I have that large panoramic photo. I'm sticking with the background pattern paper from the kit. I am, though, switching up some other elements within the design. So instead of the Granny Apple Green cardstock used for the bottom layer, I'm choosing to go with the striped pattern paper there instead. And I'm also going to align the strips together in the middle to create more of a 12 by 24 spread, and to me it creates a little bit more balance. Sorry about the band-aid, I hope it's not too distracting. I cut my finger the other day and it's just at a terrible spot. Anyway, so I began cutting my papers to the specifications in the guide, but quickly realized I'm going to need to tweak some things. So I cut these to better suit my pictures, and then I used a few scraps of white willow cardstock. This was gutted from a 12 by 12 piece. You can tell that that's where it was sitting. And then I cut this one to work on my left page. So let me just line these up. This is kind of what I had in mind. And then I haven't decided if I want to have these spaced apart like this or have them but right up against each other like that. I think I'm leaning towards having them joined as well. Kind of like that. Now the design has the pictures mat on crumb cake, and I went ahead and did the same. Now I cut out all my mats for my pictures. I'm going to have my pictures obviously laid out a little bit differently because I can't have the same configuration, although I'm going to try to do something similar. So I have a portrait right here, and I'll find the mat for it in a minute. And then I have my panoramic photo underneath that. And then I was thinking I have space for another 3 by 4 beside that. And it even leaves me enough room for maybe some journaling here, although in the design, the journaling is down in the right-hand corner. But I definitely have enough space here for my title, which I like better. I like having my title in the upper left. It just is pleasing, just more pleasing to my eye anyway. And then on this side, there's the 2 landscape pictures, and I have one landscape. Okay, let's move these out of the way. One landscape, and then I have 2 more pictures that I printed. This is a 4 by 4, and then this is I believe this is a 3.5, yeah, by 3.5. It's not the best picture of of me, but we're going to use it anyway. So I have kind of this configuration, and I'll bring in those mats now so that it's the same as the design. I am going to quickly adhere the photo mats to the pictures, and I'm using the true side of the cardstock here. For my title, I really wanted to use the elements from this design as much as I could anyway. So I took the word sweet and I cut out turtley. Then I turned to ChatGPT and I said, I want to use the word sweet. These are the pictures I am scrapbooking. Do you have any title suggestions? And it came up with a lot. There was sweet and scenic, sweet nature, or, you know, there was quite a few other ones that I can't think of right now, but the other one that it had was Sweet Horizons, and that's the title I'm going to go with. I will spell out the word horizon with the alphabet a la mode dies. While I was trimming out sweet, I also trimmed out some of the white border off of the sticker that they've used right here. I liked the idea. I thought it was kind of neat to have binoculars on this layout. It works. So I'm going to incorporate the binoculars in with my title as well. Then I pulled out all the other elements from this layout, minus the turtles, the journaling spot, as well as the little half circles they're kind of neat, actually. I kind of like them. So we're going to figure out how to incorporate them in the design as well. So one thing I wanted to mention before I get too far in the embellishing stage and before I start adhering things, I will gut out this portion of the paper since it's going to be covered by the white cardstock. I am not, on the other hand, gutting out this paper. It is only one-sided, and although I think it is beautiful, it's a very nice pattern, I think that it's okay if I cover it today. And also I'm going to ink the edges of all the paper layers. I'm going to use early espresso ink. This will help define the layers and add some dimension. One more thing. I'm considering bringing in some pool party cardstock to highlight the soft blue tones in the sky. I've cut 2 strips to 4 by 12 inches, and I plan to kind of layer them underneath the photos right over the white cardstock, just like this. And just for fun, let's emboss them with the Soft Waves embossing folder. Now I'm going to wait to trim this to size after embossing them since I'm not sure how much the paper is going to shrink up. The strips are longer than the folder, so I will run them through in 2 passes, one side at a time. I'm using the solid core cardstock, not the two-tone one at this time. Hopewell Cape is home to the famous Hopewell Rocks, located along the Bay of Fundy in New Brunswick, Canada. I hope that you can see all the seaweed covering the rocks in this photo. So for my embellishments, I'm using a mix of trees, seaweed, and rocks. I pulled out the Forever Forest dies. Unfortunately, this one's retired. It does have such a great variety of like these feathery looking trees, and that reminded me of the ones in the photos. This spot is known for having the highest tides in the world. The water level can rise and fall as much as 40 feet in a single day. I'm also using the Otterly Amazing set. I only have the dies. This is another retired one. Mainly for the seaweed dies. I love the kind of the wispy texture they add. And that set also includes a few rock shapes. I went ahead and die cut everything in a mix of colors. Garden green, pretty peacock, granny apple green, and shaded spruce for the greenery. Some of these I used two-tone cardstock, so I could use both the lighter shade and the darker to give some variety. All of these shades, except for Pool Party, I didn't use that one, are pulled from the stripes in the pattern paper. I'm thinking of placing a larger cluster in the upper right, maybe some trees there, then a smaller one in the lower right. And to complete the visual triangle, I'll add another cluster under the title on the left. Although I'm still debating because that might be the best spot for my journaling. We'll see. For the rocks, I used pecan pie, early espresso, and crumb cake. I've got lots of goodies to play with, so right now I'm just placing them loosely in these areas and seeing what feels balanced. So at low tide, you can actually walk the ocean floor and explore these towering formations, carved by the tides. Fun fact, they're often called flower pot rocks because of the trees growing on top. I like the look of having, a few trees up beside the title as well. I have this log round stamped in pecan pie from a previous layout. Oh man, another retired set. I probably should have called this video Use Your Retired Stamps. But when they're good, you just can't not use them. Anyway, I'm using it as a landing spot for this group of trees. I like building my embellishment clusters on top of something, whether it's a tag, a circle, a log round, just anything to help them stand out and feel more defined. So now it's 2 days later and my finger is healing. No more Band-Aid. And I had a chance to look at the layout with fresh eyes. And I realized I didn't love that the striped paper wasn't that mirror image. It was shorter on the right than on the left, so it made the frame feel uneven. To fix that, I grabbed a scrap that I had trimmed off earlier and I tucked it under the right side to extend it and balance things out. To hide the seam, I used one of the border stickers from the kit and I used the leftover negative piece as a second border on the left. So now the base page feels more symmetrical in a sense, and I like the little detail that it adds to the layout. It's still not completely mirrored, but I like that it has more balance. Back to the title. I struggled a bit with the color choice. I tried white, it didn't work for obvious reasons, the white background. Pool Party was too close to the Pool Party strip already on the page. I even tried ink blending. I used garden green at the bottom, fading up to granny apple green at the top to try to mimic the greenery in the photos, but I didn't like that either. Then I tried early espresso. Still no. Finally, I settled on the lighter side of pretty peacock. Then I ink blended at the bottom of each letter with the coordinating ink, and I hope that you can see it on camera. It's subtle. I love how it turned out. It's a little fun play on the title without being, too bold. Okay, let's just scooch these elements out of the way and I'll get the title in place. This may take a few minutes, so I'll cut to the finish. I still have the journaling spot dilemma. My gut tells me here, but the guide shows it over here, and that could work, but I just don't like putting two circles next to each other. I'm not sure why it's bothering me, but it is. So I'm going with my gut and I'll ink the edges with early espresso ink. I still had some left over on the sponge from earlier, and I'll tuck that into place. I'll add a few kind of weeds and rocks around it too, and I like it. It balances out the white space on the right. Now for the binoculars. They're a little big, and I wish that they were facing the other direction. I even tried cutting the sticker and flipping it. I did shorten the string, but it looked funny the other way, so I'm back to using them as they were designed. Have you ever just made a decision and said, nope, I'm committing to this? That's how I feel about these binoculars. They're staying. I do like them better with the shorter strap, so at least there's that. To balance the black from the upper left, I pulled out this stamp set called Weekend Adventure. This stamp is not retired and currently available through Stampin' Up. I'm stamping Taking the Scenic Route as a little subtitle. I'll stamp that in black under the photo of my husband and me. I bought it mainly for the gray title options. We're kind of an outdoorsy family and spend a lot of time, doing different kind of adventures. So I thought I could definitely use this all year round. You can see I did a little test stamp already on this scrap piece of paper. I'm going to stand up so I can see it better. I'm more of a eyeballer than a ruler user. That looks about right. I'll hold it there for a few seconds. I still want to use these half circles. That's part of design 1. There's this little gap here that I think I can fill in with 2 half circles and maybe use another one tucked beside this photo, kind of behind the seaweed, just to help them stand out a little bit more. And for the pool party one, I want it as far away from the pool party cardstock as possible. How about here at the top of this photo? Yeah. While I had my stamps out, I stamped this little X dot pattern in a few places beside the photos to add more black to the layout. This stamp right here. Then I noticed the splatter stamp. The rocks in the photos have kind of a silver sheen. The way that the sun is reflecting off them and the water. It reminds me of these metallic textured rub-ons. They come in silver and gold sheets, and this one has this great silver splatter. If you haven't used these rub-ons before, they're honestly one of the easiest ways to add detail without any mess. You just lay them down, rub, and you're done. No drying time, no dimension, just this really cool texture. This pack has a mix of designs like brushstrokes, splatters, swatches, and little leafy bits. And like I had said, both in the gold and silver color. I'm going to carefully cut out this large splatter cluster and I'll trim it apart even more. Then I'll tuck the pieces around the clusters and the title. Just little scattered details. Off camera, I wrote out my journaling. I am not a huge fan of my handwriting, but every now and then I do write directly onto the layout. I usually pencil it in first, then go over it with a journaling pen. And I still manage to make mistakes. Oh, and I found this sticker in my stash that says, "Adventure is calling." And I really like how it looks sitting right on top of the tree cluster. I still have a big stash of rub-ons from years ago. Do you remember those? They came with a popsicle stick that you had to press down with all your might just to get them to transfer evenly off of the carrier sheet. Yeah, well, for these, I'm just using my finger and gently touching them, and they're coming off perfectly every time. Hopewell Rocks was high on my must-see list. Coming from rural Alberta, I really didn't know what to expect. The idea of walking on the ocean floor felt more like something out of a documentary than something we could actually, get to do. The weather wasn't exactly welcoming. It was cold and drizzly the whole time. And I'll admit, I was not dressed for the occasion. It's a truly surreal and beautiful place to visit. There's walking trails, viewing platforms, interpretive signs that explain how the tides and rocks are formed. And it's one of those places that really reminds you of how powerful and ever-changing nature can be. Definitely an experience I'll never forget, even if my toes maybe needed like a hot drink afterwards. They were freezing and wet. To add a few verbal details to the layout, I'm using the Celebrate Together stamp set, the arrow background stamp, plus the words memories, and I made one that says holiday fun. I also pulled in this picture from the stamp set Love This Moment, which sadly is no longer available. So here's a close-up of the finished layout. I think the silver splatters add a fun detail, along with my not so great handwriting and all of the stamping. I hope this gave you a few ideas for using your Turtley Sweet kit in a new way. My style might not be for everybody, but that's totally okay. I'm here to share some inspiration and maybe help you get your creative juices flowing. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. It really helps support me here on YouTube. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love for you to join this little community. I'm not tired of using this collection yet. I still have plenty of scraps and stickers left. So stay tuned for more layout ideas featuring it. I've also got a few more Summer of Sketches projects coming your way because summer isn't over yet. I'll have still shots posted on Instagram. I'll bring the guide back in to compare. Honestly, mine looks nothing like the original, but that's where the idea started from. Hang on to these guides. They just might spark your creativity later with totally different products. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this layout came together and maybe picked up an idea or two along the way. And here's a video you might like watching next. Until next time, keep telling your stories one page at a time.